Hello, my beautiful people. Don't ask me why I thought this was a good time to record because I really should be focusing on what I'm doing, which is uh, very meditative to me when I am cutting like vegetables and stuff like that. Today I'm doing an eggplant, which I rarely do. Um, some people might think this is it's disgusting and it doesn't really have that much flavor, but it depends on what you cook it with. And I mostly like to um, use it in curry, I guess, when I'm going to use it or when I've had it. I'm like, hey, I need to make that. So today I did write a little bit of notes to keep me on track. Like I said, even when I'm doing stuff like this, I probably should focus. But rather than sitting down and, you know, uh, looking professional and like, fuck that. Sometimes it's such an ordeal, to put on my smock and do all those sorts of things. And these people with their fancy studios, who even gives a care? I like to do this too because it's actually like I'm a real person doing real life things like this. And I do wish I had a personal chef, but I don't. I have a love-hate relationship with cooking while I grew up kind of doing it here and there. Sometimes it's just such a production, when you want to cook more than two things and have them done at the same time. By the way, I forgot to talk about in my last video amongst the things, I think it was the one I was talking about. What was I talking about? Even though I'm always talking about relationships or something of some sort. Oh, I think it was about addictions. That amongst the different things that I do or that I like to do, also yard work. It almost takes me about an hour and a half to do the first acre. And I don't always do the second acre on the same day, but it would probably take me a total of like 3 or 4 hours, which is fun to me. I like it. Even when the lawnmower Husqvarna starts smoking. Okay, that's not what I want to talk about today. Today, what I wanted to talk about, so I've realized there's a redundancy in sometimes the things that I talk about, and there's, I try to not be redundant, but certain things, like me, I need to hear repetitively over and over again, and I think the redundancy is also how I process, and it takes me such a long time to keep playing that broken record. It's not even like I'm sick and tired and then I change. It's almost like, um, I need to be hit in the head or something with that particular idea or thought. And so one of those things is, even at this point in time and all the growth that I've gone through, there are still things residually in there and habits that I do, and questioning myself and the sense of belonging in the world and walking alone inside of myself, right? We can be surrounded by people but still feel lonely at times. And so before I have to cut this video off, getting right to it, this is talking about the redundancy in doing things and taking action on things that are going to make you happy. And that could just mean going to things and doing things by myself, which I've learned for like 20 years. Not, either if it's husband or not finding a friend or people aren't interested or aren't going to have fun. And I want to go do these things with projects and causes that are really close to my heart. And a lot of it has to do with healing, suicide prevention, and all those sorts of things, right? Not everybody has as big of a calling as some of us do. Okay, so I know that part of me, but here it comes again today where I made an attempt and basically asked 4 different people if they could go with me to this event. It really doesn't matter on me asking them a month ago or whenever things come up, and right, they still might not be able to go, or they put on, for whatever reason, right? That could be what happens. And so I will know people at this event, I'm sure, and it's to support, and it's like a fundraiser for first responders, so firefighters, the Burn Institute, Healing Heroes, like with dogs. I forget, sorry, which he's Kelly with dogs, and I've been wanting to know more about them. So basically, I'm going to go to this, and I did actually find out that it's an all ages event. It's like, live music and food, and I don't care. I was like, I'll just go for like an hour by myself, talk to Kelly, talk to Joe, meet a couple people. If it's 20 minutes or an hour, I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's by my house. So I was going to be fine with that. and having whatever basic, just, having some fun conversations and not drinking and doing my thing and going, right? Connecting, maybe seeing the dogs. So the point of the story is I could sit around and wait, right, to try to find somebody and scramble. And, the few people that I could be asking, it's like I'm just finding somebody to just go with. Like, why would I mean, I'm fine with going by myself at this point. But, so sit around and wait and then be sad and then wish that I went, sad that I didn't go, sad. Am I going to find somebody? It's like, it's not a necessity, but it's kind of like if I wanted to hang out there for more than 20 minutes or an hour and not have to stalk the nonprofits and, hey, can I come hang out with you? And, all those sorts of feelings. So you have to be willing, I think, to go and do stuff on your own in general when you start exploring out there in your mind. Just like when I first got into Brazilian music and samba music, it was already a challenging time for me to meet people in Sacramento, 20 years ago, let alone that had such, I would say, like unique interests as me, or just maybe they just weren't passionate. They didn't know what they were missing anyway, just like self-defense, right? Krav Maga. And then they would go and they'd be like, yeah, this kicks ass, or, I don't really want to get hurt, so I don't know that I want to do that. But most people enjoyed it because they got a workout. So, and then me trying to explain how much healing that it's brought to me in my life. So I'm still kind of going through this process of almost like questioning my interests and questioning my passions and questioning all this stuff. Well, it's like, okay, I knew about this event months ago. Yes, I could have asked other people, but I also didn't want it to be like that because, again, right, somebody could say that they can go and then not. I mean, they could get sick. There could be so many reasons, right? But I think before I would go through all these things in my mind, like, oh, that's not going to interest them. They're not going to like it. They're not going to have fun. Even you could say you're supporting first responders and stuff like that. Like people might be like, oh, that's cool. Or, one person did say, keep me in mind for next time or whatever it is. And so I want to go to more of these sorts of things, just like St. John's, the empowerment program. They had a fundraiser as well that was helping build and help bring more money. Their kitchen that they were anticipating, they didn't have enough money for. So that's really what I wanted to say, is pushing yourself to do the things that you want to do and make you happy. And I'm just giving this example. This isn't everybody, it could just be maybe doing things outdoor, which is the same thing too. Like finding people to like go on hikes on, which now I just feel like that's a lot of work and sweating. And unless we're doing it like 7 a.m., I don't want to go. So, I'm kind of a butthead and a complainer if things get, like really hot or really busy. At this point, I'm really glad to move away from people. And now I can choose when I want to be around them. Right? So I never thought I'd feel like this at this stage. I don't know. I need a sense of connection, right? With community like that. But now I can choose. So I think I can go ahead and end this little session on, okay, the being willing to do things by yourself, going and willing and, to talk to people. And it could even, like I said, be for 20 minutes. I mean, there's nothing to lose. Now at this point in me talking and speaking at the library, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do flyers. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do this. And, thankful if one person shows up. Well, again, it's right by my house. All that I'm bringing is a dry erase board and some writing implements. So these are like different things. Okay. I have to just take action on because I know that it's going to make me happy. I don't want to say it's a brilliant idea, but what I thought, because I was like, I'm just going to throw out a bunch of topics on the flyer. But instead this time, I think I'm going to position it as a writing workshop. and actually, list a bunch of questions and maybe start with talking about how attitude, if people think their attitude affects, how they walk life, how they do life, right? So, specialty, another specialty in writing as therapy. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say, people, is just like be willing to go out on your own and do things when you have, maybe some interests that, your people aren't really into. And I don't know if I said this already before. I don't really walk in circles with people that like the same kind of stuff that I do now. Even in training, I'm not training how I used to. So I'm not meeting those people. And that doesn't mean as well because that they would be interested, or if they are, this is a whole getting with people scheduling. I made a comment in my parenting video. It's like, dude, I'm not going to wait a month for a play date. This is when initially, becoming a parent, this was like, I don't know what's playing age. I guess you can play when you're walking, right? Like 2, but it was older than 2. And I never got into any of those moms groups, like couldn't relate. Like I tried things and I tried to expand my mind to different types of, people in crowds that I wouldn't say necessarily we had a lot of the same interests on any level, right? Music or anything. So be willing to go do things on your own. Be willing to accept, I like what I like. This is one of my core, I guess, interests in mental health. And so I need to surround myself and be around all of that because it makes me happy. And it helps heal me too. I'm sure I could find out more things to talk about, but I won't. Aside from, I will lastly close with, so I bought one of these finally, the vacuum sealer, and I'm like, okay, is it just me? Usually it is. Oh, that's gross. I just got blood on me. I couldn't figure out, it's like, it's not rocket science like they say, like how to work it, but it like wasn't working properly and not sealing things, and just reminds me again, like, why do certain things like this? Like, why is this so hard for me, right? I should say, why is it so easy? But sometimes I can't figure it out, people. And sometimes that's why I go back to being like, okay, it's usually me. It's usually me, right? Like, it's the operator's fault. And it just reminds me of myself just doing tasks where I'm just like, why something so simple is so difficult? It's like I don't think I'm overthinking that. So I pulled out the booklet again, and sometimes I have to do that, people. So you hear about or you see me, I have all these layouts and different things with my coaching and whatever, and sometimes I seem like I'm so together. It's like, okay, how have I even compacted that amount of information into that hour or whatever when I'm talking with my dry erase board and teaching, because there's just so much stuff. How have I been able to do that? And then I go and do these other things, and it's like I don't know. I'm definitely not the technically minded, and that I can look at something once and take it apart and put it back together again. That's not me, people. So you are amazing if you are like that, you damn blue collars that I love. By the way, I love that brand, Purpose Built, and all those ones that are coming out now with blue collar supporting people, which I always have. Such a dude. Okay, so I will meet you in the next video. I hope I a little bit maybe inspired you to just not only take action if you're not really social. I was not very social, if you haven't heard me before, not very social. So there was a bit of performance. Well, the performance was just talking to somebody, like even at a direct register, just saying hi, just starting conversation. But I was able to integrate the ways that I am into being like that. So again, choosing who I want to. Because I also forgot to tell you this. So much for this being 10 minutes. So I volunteered last week with the St. John's again. I told you the fundraiser. And remember again, not only I have seen the dark side, like I go to shit and I'm like, I've been to things, go to things where I'm like, this is lame. Like, I don't want to talk to them anymore or whatever it is. Like, I don't force myself in situations now. I just kind of walk away and do my own thing because I'm still going to do my own thing there. And I'm not there to make friends and I don't need to talk to people that I don't want to. And that might sound like a bitch jerk. But what I'm saying is that we can still do the things we want and enjoy the things that we want. And we don't have to really engage or do things like that in those environments or leave when we want. I know that also, again, I am learning still too that I don't want my volunteer work to be stressing me out. So once it becomes like work, I'm not into it. So I need to watch myself with that kind of stuff because I've been feeling like that lately. Like this is supposed to be enjoyable and good, and I want to be here and not feel like it's work. It's kind of like drumming. If we're going to have to walk several miles, then in the parade and carry our huge ass drums and sweat our ass off in the summertime, I don't want to do that. So some people will, and that's okay, and that's great for them. But for me, like I said, I want it to be enjoyable. And if I'm spending sometimes many hours of my day, that I'm going to take that into account. And there's other things I could talk about with the drumming, but I'm not going to do that right now. So I will meet you in the next video. And whatever makes you happy, people, just push yourself to go and do it. Sometimes it might make people unhappy or around you or whatever.